Okay. So I always like to tell people that when I'm talking at Sunt that numbers tell a story. And I always use a book when I'm talking about numbers, because if you think about it, a number by itself means absolutely nothing. But a number in comparison with other numbers starts telling a story. And it can talk about your present, it can talk about your past, and talk about your future. But as we go through this presentation on ratios and some of the other benchmarking, think about where you are today, where you want to go, and kind of hold that whole, basically that whole path, that whole trip that you take from here to that state where you want to get to be best in class. And one of the things I just want to mention, Sunt's very much a diversified contractor. We have heavy civil, we have industrial, we have commercial building. So when I'm talking about these ratios, I can relate to each one of those industry segments as we go through. So if you have questions that are particular to the industry you're in, please feel free to ask them as we go through the presentation.
So what is benchmarking? So the formal definition that we have here is benchmarking is the continuous process of measuring products, services, and practices against the toughest competitors or those companies recognized as industry leaders. So I like to think about it is if typically everybody has a bit of a competitive spirit in them, right? Yes, competitors in the room? Okay, so even if it's not something that you're personally doing, perhaps it's something that you have interest in, so like a sports team, like Tony and his injury sustained with his basketball fandom. So you need to, in order to know how you're performing in any type of competition, you have to know what you're competing against. So if it's a personal activity, so I'm a runner, so I like to compete against others in running, and I like to know how am I doing. Well, it helps to know who am I competing against. So if you participate in running events, you get your results